Here, along Oregon's southern coast, where ancient forests meet the restless Pacific, lies a place of astonishing beauty. Majestic trees, rugged cliffs, and endless horizons that whisper of timeless peace. Yet, in 1942, a single enemy plane crossed this sky, and a bomb fell upon this land. This was the only time the continental United States was bombed by a plane in World War II. And what began as an act of war would decades later transform into a remarkable story of peace and reconciliation. Today, Refresh Quest journeys to Brookings to explore the dramatic shoreline, to walk among the towering trees, and to stand where history touched the earth. Refresh Quest is the search for refreshing travel experiences that aim to uplift and inspire while having a lot of fun along the way. Are you ready to refresh? Then let's go. With a team of like-minded friends, Refresh Quest invites you along the journey as we explore beautiful and unique destinations. Meet passionate individuals and gain empowering knowledge that dares to welcome new realities and refreshing possibilities. Adventuring never felt so good. I'm your host, Jeremy Maupin, and this is Refresh Quest.
So where we're at right here at the airport is just off the coast. You know, there's Harris Beach. But Mount Emily is basically to the northeast, and it's about 10 miles from Brookings. And then the bomb site just to the southeast of where Mount Emily is at. And so what we're going to be looking for is there's a ridge right there, and it looks like the bomb site is off of a road. We may or may not be able to see that road. It might be in the trees. I'm not sure. You know, but basically, we're like a half mile to 3/4 of a mile from the peak of Mount Emily. And I'm pretty sure we can pick out these roads. More than likely, we can pick out that road, get an idea where we're going.
Local resident and pilot Jim Cook and myself took to the skies in search of a little-known chapter of Brookings, Oregon history that few people have ever heard about. In the early morning hours of September 9th, 1942, a Japanese seaplane piloted by Warrant Officer Nobuo Fujita was launched from a submarine just off the southern Oregon coast. On board were 2 incendiary bombs intended to ignite massive forest fires across the Pacific Northwest. The aircraft flew east over the rugged wilderness of the Siskiyou National Forest, and just 10 miles from the city of Brookings, it released its fiery payload. One bomb fell near Mount Emily, atop Willer Ridge, while the location of the second bomb has never been found. The 168-pound bomb that struck and exploded on Willer Ridge sparked a small fire, quickly contained by local crews. Though the physical damage was minimal, the incident intensified an already strained and volatile relationship between the United States and Japan. From the air, we hope to spot the site of the bombing, but with more than 80 years later, hidden beneath a dense, unbroken canopy of trees, it was clear that to uncover this piece of history, I'd have to continue the search with boots on the ground. Swapping my wings for wheels, I journeyed on with 2 local guides, eager to share the wonders that give this place its soul. Hidden beauty that perhaps slipped past the Japanese bombing pilot Nobuo Fujita's eyes as he soared high on that infamous day. These are the moments and details the sky can't offer. Gifts only found when you slow down, step out, and let the land speak for itself.
My name is Greg Bailey. I moved to Brookings, Oregon back in 2020. I fell in love with the area. It's beautiful, it's majestic. There's something about the atmosphere of living on the coast. There's so many places to come and see. There's so many trails, hiking trails. If you like outdoor stuff like fishing, hiking, boating, you never run out of things to do. Every morning when I go out on the walk on the beach, it clears my mind. I feel refreshed. I feel ready for the day. It's just a wonderful, peaceful place to be.
I'm Steve Webster. We're at the southern Oregon coast, which is, I think, the most beautiful coastline of Oregon. This stretch of the Boardman Corridor is just so unique with all of the sea stacks, big firs and spruces on the hills around us. It just is so spectacular scenery. It's just amazing. You have to see it to believe it.
Tucked away along the southern edge of Oregon's rugged coastline, Brookings is where the wild Pacific meets towering cliffs, windswept beaches, and forests that seem to stretch endlessly inland. This isn't just scenery, it's nature's creative spirit in motion. A breathtaking experience to behold. From dramatic sea stacks rising out of the surf to hidden coves and fern-lined trails. Every turn offers something unexpected, and while photos might capture a glimpse, it's only when you're here, feeling the ocean mist on your skin and hearing the wind through the trees, that you truly understand. Out here, seeing really is believing.
We have made it to the southern Oregon coast near Brookings, Oregon. This place is absolutely magical. We're here with Greg and Steve, and we are exploring this beautiful coastline. This is Secrets Beach. We've already been to a couple other beaches along the highway here. It doesn't matter where you go, it's absolutely beautiful, out of this world.
And there's still so much to see.
Let's go explore the southern Oregon coast. Let's go, come on.
Exploring this part of the coastline was captivating and invigorating, but our story of Fujita and Brookings doesn't end with the tides. So, as the marine layer rolled in, it was a perfect time for us to turn inland back to town, where the heart of this story is memorialized among its people and places. Founded in 1908, Brookings, Oregon quickly established itself as a key player in the lumber and fishing industries. Today, while tourism and healthcare drive much of the local economy, you can still spot a few weathered, salt-borne vessels floating at the mouth of the Chetco River that still brave the tides and proudly carry on the legacy of what once was here at the port of Brookings Harbor.
My name is Willie Gergen. I am a commercial fisherman and restaurateur. Been fishing my entire life. So we primarily fish for Dungeness crab in the winter. The rest of the year we fish for albacore tuna. If we're fortunate enough to have a salmon season, we'll do some salmon fishing. I've had the restaurant for about 8 years now, but it's been in my family since '92, I think. My dad as a kid started fishing. Then his brother got a boat, and my dad got his own boat, his brother got a boat, then my grandpa got his own boat. So I'm third, my son's fourth generation. He has his own boat, he's fishing out of Charleston.
Living in a small community like Brookings, life moves at a gentle pace. One of the community leaders reminded us of those benefits, where he shared that this place inspires him to be the very best version of himself each and every day.
My family and I stopped on a Friday in 2005 here in Brookings, bought a home on that Saturday. The reason that we wanted to live here is that we fell in love with the combination of the ocean and the mountains. The topography and the climate is the same as Carmel and Monterey. One of the exciting things for me is that behind me is the Pacific Ocean. And I would go and I would stand on the porch and I would think, what could I do here that would make me happy? And so I started writing. And every time when I need inspiration, I come down to the beach and see what it's like. Whether it's stormy or whether the sun is out, there's never the same view. It always affects you differently. And therefore, my creativeness is at an all-time limit so that I know that whatever it is that I need to discuss, I can do that.
Across the harbor, Greg and Steve led me to the beautifully landscaped 33-acre Azalea Park, where the history of the attack on Oregon is well documented and on display for visitors. The park was designed with the community in mind, offering a variety of facilities for recreation and relaxation, including frisbee golf, where we couldn't resist grabbing our discs for a quick round of friendly competitive fun. The park is also named for and home to ancient native azalea plants. Steve shared some fascinating history with us beyond their beauty.
The azaleas here have been qualified by botanists to be over 400 years old, which are ancient for a plant of that such. In fact, it was noted in the journals of Jedediah Smith, the explorer that came through here in 1828. He noted in his journals that this area around here had beautiful azalea plants, so they're very old. In May and June, they're blooming, and they named a festival in Memorial Day, the Azalea Festival, in honor of all of these beautiful plants.
The Azalea Festival also played an important role for a meeting place for Nobuo Fujita and the city of Brookings. For in 1962, 20 years after Fujita bombed the forest near Brookings, he was invited back, this time as a guest of honor, as an act of goodwill and reconciliation. As the thick fog rolled in, we decided to head indoors. To learn more about this remarkable story, we headed over to the Checo Community Public Library, where inside there's a very special display. The library houses the Fujita Historical Archives, an exhibit featuring a detailed model of Fujita's Yokosuka E-14Y Glen floatplane, along with the I-25 submarine from which it was launched. The model is very intricate, built by Simon W. Herbert from Tucson, Arizona. But even more impressive, the display holds Fujita's 400-year-old family's katana, which he gave to the city of Brookings in friendship and as a symbol of peace during his first visit. For a traditional Japanese family, the katana was more than just a weapon. It was an heirloom that embodied the family's honor, history, and spiritual identity. We are in the Checo Community Public Library here in Brookings, Oregon, and we came to learn about a very interesting piece of history, not only to the city of Brookings, but the entire United States, and a piece of history that not a lot of people know about. And we're going to learn it today. Let's go check it out. Teaming up with the library's assistant director, Kat Liddell, we got to dig even deeper, where we explored the library's attic. Here, we found archives chronicling the news stories of 1962. Inside, we found newspaper articles detailing Fujita's then potential return to Brookings, Oregon, which made headline news. Some supported the idea, while others opposed it. In the end, after much consideration, careful deliberation, and reassurance on all sides, Fujita crossed the vast Pacific Ocean once more, returning to Brookings, Oregon, a journey which history now came full circle, both literally and symbolically.
My name is Kat Liddell. We're here at the Checo Community Public Library in Brookings, Oregon, and I am the assistant director of the library. So we have thousands and thousands of books for checkout. We have our computer spaces and our fun programs that we do both here in the library and in the community. And we're also home to a pretty interesting piece of World War II history, which is Nobuo Fujita's samurai sword. That sword was gifted to the city of Brookings as part of a reconciliation effort after the Japanese bombed the forests outside of Brookings, Oregon in 1942. Just about less than a year after the bombings of Pearl Harbor, the Japanese had submarines throughout the waters in the Pacific, primarily to do reconnaissance. In 1942, they decided to try an experiment. They thought instead of flying a reconnaissance mission, they would load up one of those seaplanes with incendiary bombs and see if they could bomb the forests outside of Brookings, Oregon. The forests in southern Oregon were quite vast, and they thought that by bombing such a remote location that was out of the way of major military operations, they would divert military resources, cause some panic, and hopefully deplete morale. It's not as well known as it could be because the mission was ultimately unsuccessful. So on September 9th, 1942, on a foggy morning, like the early hours of the morning, the submarine surfaced off the coast of Brookings. They actually had to take out the seaplane, assemble it as quickly as they possibly could, catapult it into the air, and Nobuo Fujita, the pilot, circled the forests just outside of Brookings, dropped a few firebombs. They were hoping that it would catch fire, but because it was such a foggy morning, because it had rained the night before, nothing actually really came of that. The citizens did take notice of the plane and of the explosions from fire lookouts, and they went to investigate, but then the FBI quickly came in, took the fragments out, and things kind of quieted down after that for the people of Brookings at the very least. So, and then nobody heard about it for 20 years. So that wasn't the end of Fujita's involvement with the city of Brookings. So about 20 years later, in 1962, the Junior Chamber of Commerce were talking about different ways to celebrate the Azalea Festival that was coming up in town. And they'd heard a story about the bombing, and they wondered, is this person still alive? Did this person survive the war? They found out that he had, and they reached out to him. He was living just outside of Tokyo and had a hardware business at the time. They sent him letters. They connected one business person to another, and they invited him and his family to be guests of honor at the Azalea Festival, and he accepted. So they started fundraising to bring him, and boy howdy did it really start some contention in the community when they made that decision. There was like flurries of letters to the editor back and forth of people like saying like, this is a dishonorable thing to do. There were people who were saying, let's give reconciliation and peace a chance, and it was really uncertain how it was going to go. Some of the JCs actually even got death threats. But when he arrived, it turned out to be just like this really nice celebratory weekend with him and his family, and it was a nice moment for the people of Brookings, especially the people who remembered the war, to get to know this family and get to see each other on a human level. So when he came to be a guest of honor at the Azalea Festival, he brought his family samurai sword and he presented it to the city of Brookings, to the people of Brookings, and said, we want to offer this as a gesture of peace and reconciliation and friendship. So there was a ceremony over Memorial Day weekend, and yeah, there was quite a turnout for that. And they maintained constant contact with him over the years, and he came back to visit a couple times as well. And they maintained that friendship until his death in the late 90s. One of the visits that Fujita came back for in the 90s, they had, in the intervening years, rediscovered the bomb site. This was all like wild wilderness where the bombing had occurred, and it actually took some effort to go back and find the site where the bombs had been dropped. They found that in the 70s. They marked it with a trail, and when Fujita returned in the 90s, they planted a redwood seedling there at the bomb site, and it was called the Peace Tree. It's still there to this day. It's survived a couple of wildfires. And when Fujita passed, he actually arranged to have his ashes flown over the bomb site. So they took a plane journey over the forests, and they spread some of his ashes. And instead of dropping bombs, they did that final act of remembrance for Fujita.
The story of Brookings and Nobuo Fujita is a rare and powerful example of how an act of war can, with time and openness, evolve into a mission of peace. What began in 1942 as a bombing raid, the first enemy attack on the U.S. mainland during World War II, slowly transformed into something far greater. Decades later, the very pilot who once flew over these forests and returned not as an enemy, but as a guest seeking reconciliation. Through mutual respect, dialogue, and a willingness to heal, Fujita's journey helped turn a painful chapter into a symbol of peace and friendship. It stands as a testament that when individuals and communities choose to look beyond the past and embrace the possibility of connection, former enemies can become allies, and wounds can transform into symbols of resilience. It's a powerful reminder that peace isn't just the absence of war, but the presence of courage to forgive, to reach out, and to build something better together. The next day, as sunlight pierced the fading marine layer, it offered Greg and I one final chance to return to the coast, drawn back to the untamed shoreline where the ocean still held stories left unseen. The Samuel H. Boardman State Scenic Corridor stretches 12 breathtaking miles, showcasing a rugged coastline, dense forest, and windswept sand dunes. Around every corner, over every cliff, you're met with stunning natural beauty. So surreal at times, it feels as though you've stepped onto another planet. In a place like Brookings, Oregon, cradled between forest and sea, and surrounded by a community of generous souls that I was fortunate to meet, you're reminded that the world still holds places of quiet magic and stories waiting patiently to be found. As Greg and I stood at the edge of it all, the view before us was more than just a landscape. It was a feeling, an experience we wouldn't soon forget.
Well, Gregory, we did it. We conquered the southern Oregon coast. Every destination we stopped was out of this world.
Yeah.
You took me to one place and it was beautiful. You took me to another place, it was even more beautiful. like every time I felt like we stopped, I was blown away. Right when I thought, okay, I've seen it all.
Right.
You come around the bend, you find another beach, and you're blown away again.
Yeah. This scenic corridor just has a ruggedness to it that's just gorgeous. It's like looking at beautiful paintings all around you all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, every couple miles seems like there's another stop, another place to sightsee, another place to photograph. It's a beautiful place to visit. I love it. Anyone who loves living in a rural, majestic, quaint, cute town or area, this place is it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Greg. I really appreciate the invitation to come check out Southern Oregon. And I can tell you for sure I'll be back, and we'll cover more ground next time.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you, my friend.
Before saying goodbye to Brookings, Oregon, my adventurous spirit still yearned for one final journey, one last piece of the story I had to witness with my own eyes. The bomb site had lingered in my mind since I arrived, and now my inner explorer wouldn't let me leave without finding the very spot where the bomb fell. Where history touched the forest, and where a moment of war would decades later become a symbol of peace. Driving miles into the Siskiyou National Forest on unmarked roads that forked in several different directions, I began to worry that I was lost. And on top of it all, it began to rain. But I had come too far to turn back now. And then finally, a sign, barely noticeable, camouflaged by ferns, fog, and rain. Along this path, several commemorations detailing the story for hikers who desire to see the site for themselves. The path wasn't clearly marked, just a narrow trail winding through thick forest. As I hiked deeper into the trees, the silence grew more profound, the air heavy with history, and where time seemed to hold its breath. then, there it was. A simple plaque nestled among the ferns and moss, marking the site where one of Fujita's incendiary bombs fell in 1942. No crater, no ruins, just the quiet resilience of the forest. Standing tall where fire once threatened to take hold. And in that stillness, it struck me, this place, once touched by war, now felt like a sanctuary.
We made it to the actual spot where the bomb dropped, right here, in the forest of Brookings, Oregon. And what a beautiful way to end this story. What started as an act of war ended with a mission of peace. And although we're leaving this cinematic journey in the rain, I look at it as symbolic for refreshing adventures and travels and a renewed sense of growth and life. And I can tell you truly that in this spot, it is beautiful, it is serene, and best of all, it's peaceful. Just like it should be. Just like it should be.